Alright. Hey everybody, I'm Tina Andrews, and we're going to get real with some green marketing tips today. So the adolescent of the 21st century is a very crucial part of our history. They have a higher life expectancy and a higher disposable income and influence on their household purchases than any other citizen in the history of the world. This is key for marketers. They prey on people that are open-minded, which, since teenagers are still developing their identity and are so susceptible to cultural themes, that's perfect. They love it. They thrive off of it. So we're going to get real with green marketing. We're going to look at a study conducted by Kaman Lee in Hong Kong and really see just how we can see a campaign that is true to their green standards, and then look at a campaign that is not so true, that just wants to get money, and look at how we can determine which corporations are good and what are bad. Without further ado, let's get real. Alright, so in the mid-1980s, the term green marketing came into being. Green marketing being the advertising of a product based on its environmental ability. Green marketers told corporations that their business would thrive because it would make them open to new markets, new consumers, people who wanted to purchase ethically. But this didn't happen. And by the 1990s, people were so cynical towards this idea of green marketing, they thought that all of these ads were just hot air. They didn't really think about it at all, and then terms came into being, like green selling, green spinning, green harvesting, very negative terms with very negative connotations. Then we got all the way down to sustainable marketing, which a few corporations really do operate on. Then we fast forward to today. These terms have been well defined, but consumer behavior is still being researched. That's where Kaman Lee comes in. In 2008, they conducted a study in Hong Kong over 48 high schools with over 6,000 students with a median age of 14. This was a random sampling survey based on a self-reported nature, and it asked students questions to determine which of these 7 factors was the most important to them when they were going to purchase a green product. The results were significant. At the top, we have social influence. At number 7 at the bottom, we have perceived seriousness of the environmental problem. Now, social influence makes sense, along with Wolf's theory of consumer buying patterns. It's based on social and cultural changes, and then lastly, individual behavior. So 2 of those are outside sources that will influence somebody's purchasing behavior. Key for teenagers who are still developing, still in these phases where cultural collectivism is still fresh in their brains, and they don't really understand rational appeal from an emotional appeal. They actually prefer emotional appeals. That's why number 7 is the seriousness of an environmental problem. They're desensitized by mass media and ideas that the world is just going to end, and there's just catastrophes that are going to happen with issues like climate change, and they're just so desensitized that it doesn't matter anymore. So they look to their friends. They look to people who they think are ethical consumers, and they look to what's cool. Because we all know there's nothing worse than a failed cool. Alright, so one of Lee's predictions is that green is going to go mainstream. There needs to be a return to rational with adults. But before that happens, we need to actually look at campaigns and look at corporations that are actually doing good. The corporations that are actually doing good, Lee argues, are the ones that aren't going to be advertising, oddly enough. A little counterintuitive, but adults need to take this into consideration and realize that they have the power and the knowledge to pass this on. They have the power of the dollar. They have their power of social media, of influence, of their voice. They can read. They can tell the difference between a packaging with a green leaf on it from information that they see on a website, and they can tell what is legitimate and what is not. So we're going to take a look at a couple of examples and test her theory.
Imagine enough plastic to cover Mount Rainier. What if we could keep that much plastic waste out of landfills each year? By using just one less trash bag each month, we can. And Glad ForceFlex bags stretch until they're full, so you can take them out less often. It's a small change that can make a big difference.
So the commercial starts out with a little jingle. Imagine enough plastic to cover Mount Rainier. What would happen if we could use this much less plastic waste each year? All right, so that's nice little slogan. Basically saying that Glad ForceFlex bags have the technology, they use less plastic than what? We don't know. You can actually fit more trash into them. So that makes them more environmentally friendly, right? They use less plastic, wrong. Anything plastic is not environmentally friendly. Plastic is a byproduct of petroleum, which is oil. It has a residency time of thousands of years. Once it gets into a landfill, it is piled on top of mounds of trash that, equal to an area bigger than Mount Rainier, and there's no aeration to get to them. So that residency time triples, maybe even quadruples. They're not going anywhere. That's why we have dryers in the Pacific Ocean, and that plastic just stays on planet Earth. There's nothing that is plastic that is green. There's also, in the commercial, she doesn't really test the quality of their statement that you can actually fit more trash into that bag. That trash bag is almost completely empty. And on top of it all, they're just practicing green selling because they stamped a green leaf on an existing product. That is the definition of green selling. They're just trying to market to more people, and this is the perfect opportunity for a rebound effect. Now, rebound effect is when something is supposed to be green, but then people see it as an opportunity to kind of, cut back maybe of their life. And so if you can fit more trash into a trash bag, why wouldn't you produce more trash? It's only one trash bag, right? All right, but, and also, go back. This is a picture of Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier in the slogan isn't snow covered. It's actually photoshopped, and it just chips away at the ethical validity of the argument. And people on YouTube have noticed big issue with that. And also, Glad on their website has topics, articles on how consumers can reduce waste, because it's our fault that there's so much trash. It's our fault that this is a locked-in system, this use of a plastic bag to throw away our trash. It's our job to do this. But you know what? They're putting it out there, so I kind of give them credit for it. But when was the last time you went on the Glad website? All right, so let's move on to the next example. Now, you guys probably won't be able to hear this one either, but we can play it.
I've been in LA for 35 years. I'm raising my family here, my two kids, 8 and 10. I have been riding the bus, I want to say almost all my life. My mom didn't drive, so we were always on the bus. It's just the easiest way to get around. LA is known definitely for its traffic, congestion, for the smog. But now that the buses are running on natural gas, they don't throw out as much pollution to the air. I think other cities should definitely think about changing the way the buses run. It's cleaner now here in LA. I'm glad that my kids, they're young, they don't have to breathe in that stuff. It's great that it comes from here. We should be able to get more of our energy domestically. I definitely feel good. I feel like I'm doing my part to help out the environment.
She's totally allowed to feel that way, right? She can feel like she's helping out in a way. But really, let's talk about that stuff. All right, so natural gas is it's actually oil in a gaseous form. Basically, it's formed the exact same way, except it's put under a lot of heat and pressure and over millions of years because it is, like oil, a non-renewable resource. We can extract it through a process that we all know as fracking, which takes place mostly in the eastern part of the United States. Now, fracking is a process where chemicals are injected into the ground with water, and the pressure actually can release the gas, crack the ground, and we can harvest it for energy, right? All right, so that's what she means by stuff, right? That it's not actually smog from CO2, but actually the main byproduct of natural gas is methane, CH4, which is 4 times more potent than CO2, so okay. That's her first point, at least. She also says that it's good that we, the United States, are making this instead of outsourcing it from, somewhere in the Middle East or something like that. Yeah, it's good that we're doing it, I guess, but is it really good for just your family? Is it also good for the people in the eastern United States, in Pennsylvania, New York, and Ohio, where this is happening? They are susceptible to the effects of natural gas fracking, which can include the cracks going into water supplies like reservoirs and aquifers where this unfiltered drinking water comes from. Now, being in Florida, we understand that. We have karst topography. We know how important that is. It's especially important when you think that there's 8.8 million people just in New York City alone that get 1.1 billion gallons of water, unfiltered, from reservoirs right by this fracking every single day. And this is not noticeable at first because you can't taste it, you can't smell it, you can't see it. So by the time you realize what's going on, it's too late, okay? And then the last thing she said, of course, is she feels like she's doing okay. Nothing wrong with that, that's fine. She can go ahead and feel that way all she wants. Now, our last example is actually my favorite. It's Kraft. And Kraft is the #2 worst company in the world. Right in between Exxon. Stop right there. All right. They're right in between Exxon and Walmart, according to the Better World Handbook by Ellis Jones. Actually, their corporate affiliate, Cracker Barrel, won the Greenwashing Award for most public deception in advertisements. So we see here that this is the good stuff, right? That's the milk, right? All right, so when I looked up Kraft on Google, first 5 pages of my Google search, I tried to look up, I typed in like false, I typed in, any kind of word that might have like a negative connotation with the company. First 5 pages of every Google search were just corporate sponsored websites. When I finally got to one, when I found a little bit of a negative past for Kraft, it was that they are actually using growth hormones in their cows. So that's the good stuff right there. We can keep going. This is how it happens. So, all right, Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, fresh local milk. Is that actually local to Florida? No. No, maybe it's local in Wisconsin, but I think that's a false statement right there. All right, we can keep going. Real wholesome cream. 3% other ingredients right there at the bottom. And if you guys can recall, Cracker Barrel actually has a commercial out that looks very, very similar to this. So that's Philadelphia cream cheese. That's the story. All right, so that's their ad. But what does their website look like? All right, so we got more of these green leaves that we love so much. Let's see what they say. We strive to make our world a better place through every action we take. Right, they're striving. Let's read more about this responsibility of theirs. Okay, let's read the last 2. Environmental policy. We only have one planet, so all of us need to work together and find ways to use less energy, water, and other resources to reduce the waste we generate. We're working on our part. Climate change. When it comes to climate change, there's no shortage of ideas on how to tackle the issue. We have a point of view, and we want to make a difference. Okay, they want to make a difference. They're working to make a difference. But are they actually doing anything? Those are some warning signs that a company has not taken the initiative yet. But they're working on it. Go to the next one. All right, so this is the Sustainability Management by Stephen Cohen. This is a book that actually talks about New York City and their actions that they're taking to become more sustainable, and is actually looking at other companies as well. Xerox is one of the companies that he mentions as being a leader in environmental sustainability. Now, I previewed their commercial for you guys, and they don't mention anything about sustainability, right? This is their website. Oh my God, there's no green leaf. How are we going to figure out what they're doing to be sustainable? Where are we going to find where our products come from, or how we can recycle them, or how we can combat obsolescence by just fixing our product and taking it to these sources? Oh my God, wait, I think I see it. Oh my God, it's right there at the bottom in 10-point font. I read the answer and I wasn't led by a green leaf. Now this is somebody that's actually active in the sustainable field, and they're actually making a difference. And they're not using a green leaf. They have belief that we can read and we can determine what company is doing the right thing. Now, this echoes Lee's idea of returning to rational. As adults, we can't be dependent on these emotional appeals from these companies. We have to really look and research and determine for ourselves what corporations are actually doing what. And we need to realize that our dollar, if they have taught us anything, our dollar is the one vote that we get against them. The one thing that we can actually say, stand up and say, we're going to boycott you. We don't like what you do. We know what you're doing. And we're going to stand up for what we believe in. So we need to educate ourselves. We need to buy the Better World Handbook. It's a great place to start. You can actually make a list of safe brands to buy. You can also buy the Energy and Environment and Development book. Great tool to know the science behind all this green technology. You know what you're reading when you read peer review articles, because we're only as good as our sources. You can watch Democracy Now! It streams online for free every morning after it airs on TV. It's a great show, non-biased news source. We can also take it to social media and blog about our journey to becoming green, and we can take it to Twitter. I actually had an argument with Nature's Table not too long ago on Twitter about their marketing of compostable cardboard cups, right? They're made out of paper, but they want to put it in our hands because it's our responsibility to compost these things. They don't need to have a recycling can for the plastic lid that goes on top of it or the straw. They don't need to provide us with the means to compost these things. They just have to stamp on there that it's compostable, and they're doing a good thing because they're letting us know. That doesn't fly, I'm sorry. I see through that green selling, and that's the power of social media. They have to respond to us. They have an obligation to respond to us and let us know that they hear us. And we have an obligation to boycott and to use our dollar as power and to let them understand us in a language that they can understand too. We can vote with the power of our dollar, and that's what we need to do. Thank you.